July is this weekend, so we're discussing freedom and independence.
Yes.
Yes.
What does that mean to you?
It means a whole lot of nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have little to say on the topic?
Listen, freedom and independence. Like personal freedom and independence. Like, I don't know.
Well, and I even go one step further because I think freedom has connotations with independence and what I would say is autonomy. And I think independence and autonomy are different.
Yeah. I don't know.
So let's break it down maybe a little bit for people, which is independence is more that move towards decision making, accepting responsibility. So it's that point in life when you are becoming this person who is, you're on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And freedom and autonomy have different connotations based on the forces behind them. So freedom a lot of times is about external forces.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Do you have the freedom to do the different things that you want to do? Whereas autonomy is more about the internal freedom to do things. So those can be very different, right? Especially when you're talking about children, teenagers, young adults, even us as adults, what we may feel we can do internally may be very different than what we can do externally, right? Because we are all operating within different systems. So systems of family. So we would expect younger children to have less freedom than emerging adolescence or even into adulthood. Less ability to make their own choices and so forth. Whereas autonomy is about feeling like you can have a voice and a choice over what's happening in your world, even within the context that it's happening.
Okay.
Did that just go over your head?
No, I understood all of it completely.
Okay. Not that it was over your head, but I know sometimes...
Am I stupid? No.
No, but sometimes I tend to start talking and then you hear like that Charlie Brown's teacher.
No.
You were hanging with me? Okay.
Sure. I thought that was a lot right off the bat, but okay.
Well, bring it down to earth for us.
Listen, I don't feel like I have a whole lot of decisions and choices to be made, and therefore, I don't know, it doesn't mean a whole lot to me.
Really? You don't feel like you're making a lot of choices every day?
No. Not really.
Or is it that you do them and you don't think and overthink them? Right? Because you're in grad school, you're employed.
Sorta. Sorta.
Those are all elements of decisions and moving towards more autonomy and independence.
And many of those don't have much of that in it. Like, I don't have the choice to do homework or not do homework.
Well, I think that would be the argument is people do have choice whether they do the homework or not do the homework. There's many students who opt not to do the homework.
If I don't do the homework, I don't graduate.
So there's something that's more important to you, right? Which is graduating?
Sure.
That's not important to everyone.
I think if you're in grad school, there's something there that you're going for, and what you gotta do is what you gotta do.
And so you don't even think about it.
It's not really a choice that you have to make.
Because you've made the bigger choice, which is I'm going to grad school, which comes with it all these other things you must do.
Sure. I don't know.
Okay.
Did you know that 1/3 of adults are still living at home and only 70% of them are employed? A third of 35 years and under. 35 years and younger.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised by that.
Yeah.
That seemed high for me. Not that 1/3. I think the one that surprised me was the age of 35 and under adults.
Yeah.
Like if it had been
realistically, you have 3 children. You know one of them will still be living with you at 35. So realistically, there's your 1/3 right there.
Fair.
Let's put it in that perspective. Are you surprised now?
Maybe not. And then, but I was surprised overall with the 35. I don't know that I would have been surprised. Certainly not 25 and under. Maybe even not a surprise 29 and under.
Living's expensive.
It's very expensive. And, you know, we are one of the few countries where it's sort of like 18, leave, go out, get your own place, live on your own, and so forth. Whereas I think that has changed over the last few years. And maybe this was another thing with COVID, you know, and I don't know that that's true or not. I'm just sort of, it seems like the past few years that has really changed where more families are living together and young adults are staying home longer. And I don't think it's a failure to launch issue. I think it's a choice in many situations. In some situations, it's not.
Could I move out? Yeah. Do I want to? No, I'm really good.
Because you're making that choice. And that comes down to some of that freedom and autonomy that you have to make that choice.
I guess.
Until that choice is taken away from you. Right? Like if you're...
Angel, you can't go a week without seeing me.
Well, we could see each other without living together.
Well, no, because if I'm moving out, I'm moving far.
You're moving far?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm good with that. Because, you know, I'm going to move somewhere nearby probably because it's going to be warm wherever you go.
Yeah. Probably.
But let me tell you, the heat today.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I'm going to go outside and enjoy it, but I'm like, how long will I be able to be out there?
I don't have time to go out there. I have things to do. Unfortunately.
And how do those things tie in with our topic of freedom?
I don't want to do them. First and foremost, I don't want to. It's homework. I have to record a 8 to 10 minute presentation, and then I have to go write a 2 to 3 page paper, which is like, it's grad school. So a 2 to 3 page paper is like nothing. That's like a discussion post, honestly. That's the equivalent of amount of effort that has to be put into that. But like, I don't have time to go tan. I don't have time to go do the things that I want to do. Because I have to go do these other things that I don't want to do, that I have been putting off as much as possible. And now it's the day that they're due, and so they have to be done.
Right. And you say that you don't want to do them because you want to do other things, but these sometimes, a lot of us have these necessary tasks to get the other thing that we want more.
I don't know that I want it anymore, but, you know, we're here. We're doing it.
You say that now. You're near the end of the
exactly
year. You're ready for a break.
One time off.
I think your entire cohort is feeling a little crispy fried.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I would rather lay in bed and not think today. However, that's not happening.
Mm-mm. So as we think about our topic of freedom, autonomy, independence, how has that changed over the years for you when you think about when you were younger, 12, 13 versus teenager versus 18 and so forth?
Let me tell you, my parents are still telling me what I should and shouldn't do. What? Last night, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going for a walk. I need to get my extra walk in. I have too much physical energy, not enough mental energy, but I want to go for a walk. It was like 9:15 at night, and she goes, no, you're not. It's a Saturday night. There's drunk people out there. You can get hit by a car. As if I haven't been leaving the house at like 8:45 to go on walks literally almost every night this week.
Right. I did do that.
You did do that.
Now, to be fair.
Granted, 5 minutes prior, I looked at her and said, yeah, I'm going for a walk. I go upstairs, I get my socks on, I come downstairs, I put my shoes on. She's giving me the dirtiest look possible. And it's like, what are you doing? I'm going for a walk. We had this discussion 5 minutes ago.
I did not remember that you were saying that. I probably was either watching the show that your dad had on or
you were scrolling.
Scrolling. Could be just something like that. The issue, though, was less that you were going for a walk, right? Because you do that several times a day. It was completely dark outside.
It was not. If you looked over towards where the sun sets, it's still
you can still see a little bit.
Yes.
That's not the view that I had.
Right, because you're looking in the way that the sun rises, which is pitch black because the sun's on the other side of the town.
I don't think so, but that's okay. The other issue was you were wearing a very dark shirt and shorts.
Get over it. Literally get over it.
There was no reflective. I think for context,
never do I wear reflective.
We don't live in an area where there's sidewalks either. So you're walking in the road. But you're right. You are a young adult. I should have had no say in that.
There are streetlights.
Yes.
We also live in an area where there's no through streets. So there's not as much traffic.
Yes, and there's people that fly through.
Yeah, I'm one of those people. What's your point?
Right. So that's an interesting point that you're making, that
I don't
as
get
a
to
young
make
adult,
my choices. Still,
that you don't get to make your choices.
As a 22-year-old.
That you're still... That I told you what to do. You're
and then
right.
she wonders why I'm in the bad mood.
In the bigger context of things, how often do I tell you to do things or not do things?
Quite frequently, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to pay you more
Oh my
attention
gosh.
to it.
I had pictures that I was going to hang up, and I was like, I'm going to put them in a line on that wall. And she goes, are you sure? I think they'd look better. 2 over here and 1 over there.
It was just me giving input. I didn't...
And I was like, yeah, I'm sure.
And I think you asked my opinion. You were like, what do you think if I did? And I'm like, well, why not 2 there?
I
and 1
didn't
over
say,
there?
what do you think? Because I was set on my decision. And I
you...
hung them where I wanted them.
Yes, and they look lovely.
She doesn't like them.
I do like them. I just think you need more on other walls now.
Well, I have nothing on any other walls, so that's the issue.
But on this, I don't know, not even 3 foot wide, wall, you have 3.
Yeah, because they're cute. It's a little statement wall.
It's a statement wall. It's so cute. So how do you... What do you...
Why do you have to question my choices?
I'm not questioning your choices. It's fine. You're doing something I probably would not have done it that way. And your way is the right way for you. That's great. I like it. I loved it. I even sent a picture to Mimi. And she loves it. Not that you need our opinion of it.
I don't. Anyway.
So what I'm hearing you say right now is...
You give your input where it wasn't asked. You tell me what I should and shouldn't do.
You invited me into your room and
to look at the
me,
wall, and then I said, I think I'm going to put them right there. And you go, what about there and there?
So what you're saying is your idea of freedom and autonomy.
Why do you have to question my decisions?
Is to have somebody never question your...
Oh my God, that is not... To not have my parents question my decisions.
Okay, to not have your parents
because you've questioned my decisions my entire life. Why are we making this choice? Why are you watching... What do you like about this TV show that's making you watch it?
I'm usually asking out of curiosity because I don't want to be making the decisions for you. This is one of those ways, at least in my apparently misguided attempts to help you develop in your identity.
I just think sometimes it comes across as you're doing it wrong, so why are you doing it this way?
No.
Well, that's what it comes across.
And so this is one of those things sometimes as parents, is there anything we can ever say or do that would be the right response? I'm
No, you can't say or do anything right, and neither can I, so it's fine.
This is going to be a great episode.
I'm in a mood, and she's not making it any better. Anyways, this is one of our more unhinged episodes.
Yes, and I'm going to sit over here and tread lightly.
Anyways, I'm sweating, guys.
So when you think over the years, because that is one of the things that has come up before is, thinking about the freedoms and autonomies that you were allowed to have versus not allowed to have.
Mm-hmm.
And, sometimes we've said that on our show, thinking in terms of when a cell phone, when you were allowed to have a cell phone, when you were allowed to have social media access, what you got to do and when you got to do it. And I would like to think, but again, realize as parents, we don't always hit the mark, that we always tried to give you appropriate choices that you could make at the time, given your age. But some choices we did not allow you to have.
Guys, I still run my Instagram posts by her. I need her input because part of me thinks that if I post something, she's going to think it's inappropriate.
I feel like there's nothing I can say to this because part of me like, well, tell me more.
Like when I made an Instagram post of my espresso martini photos in a bathrobe on a bed in a hotel. And I was like, she's going to think these are inappropriate and I can't post them.
But I took some of the pictures for you.
The picture.
So I guess, why did you really want to run them by me?
I don't know.
I mean, they're
literally that.
They're really cute.
They are cute.
They're statement pieces.
Yes, they are.
And, you were able to make those. So I think this does get back to when we think about some things, being careful of what is out there. I probably have said that to you. And I think that this does bring up one of those challenges, I think, that many people have, especially what I would say is developing young people, adolescents and young adults, is sometimes when things are out there, they're out there. And that can feel permanent. And people do pull them up, right? When you're looking for jobs and so forth. I have reviewed people's social media and have opted not to move forward in a hiring process because what they were posting was not aligned with the company's values.
Mm-hmm.
What are you thinking?
If they don't accept my espresso martini, then they won't accept me.
Right. But those are cute, and
they're cute.
You're a young woman. Those are trendy, and actually, those are sort of like the pictures you just hung, weren't they?
They're a little similar.
Maybe that's what you need to do is get some printouts of that and put some of those pictures in your room.
I'm gonna make a collage of just me and aesthetic photos.
There you go.
That'll look a little narcissistic. But it's okay. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Self-love.
Self-love. See, and that's different than narcissistic.
Yes.
Right? Okay, if your entire room was only pictures of yourself, that could feel a little creepy.
You better watch it. I'm going to make a whole collage of just me in your hallway. Because you want photos on the wall.
I do want photos.
The boys don't ever take photos.
No.
I always take photos.
We do need some photos of the boys.
Okay.
I don't know who's going to take them, though, because your Aunt Candace, she's great at it, but I think she said she'd never take the pictures again. They're not very cooperative.
No, they're not.
And I don't know that that's improved with age.
It has not. Anyways,
Yes.
how has independence and autonomy changed for you?
Over all the years?
Yeah.
Well, I think...
Or even just going from adulthood to premium adulthood.
to premium adulthood. I love that. I think a few things, growing up, I would say one of the things my generation says is we are so glad there were no smartphones back in our day. We would not have liked to have pictures or proof. We just want our memories and how we remember them.
Why does everything have to be recorded?
I don't know. I don't know. I really wish we would have more times where we put our phones away. And being somebody who I do know that I scroll sometimes mindlessly, but I will say I try to be much better about enjoying an event instead of trying to record it or take pictures of it. Because that really, when I'm recording things or taking pictures, those moments that I'm doing that takes away from me being fully present with all the feels there. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not going to snap some pictures, of what I'm doing in that event, but then I do want to put the phone away and just be present. So I don't know why we feel we have to record everything, but I think that's people's default. Like they pull out the phone and let me get a recording of this.
Some people are just filming every day out in public. For what? Not even getting anything interesting. There's no purpose behind it.
Well, and then there was something even locally where somebody pulled out and recorded this conversation, and she was the one recording it, berating this other person for trying to sell some things to make some money or this or that. And really she was ridiculing and belittling this person. And she was the one that recorded and posted it to show how bad this other person was, but really made herself look bad. And it just, why? This other person didn't consent to be recorded and all of those things.
But it's public. You're out in public. You have no right to privacy out in public. That's everybody's argument.
And I just disagree. I think if I'm going to be recorded in an interaction that I'm having with somebody, I should be able to give consent or not give consent, right? They're capturing my likeness, my tone. I would like to think that I'm handling myself, but let's say any situation, I think, and this is what I worry about with this younger generation, any situation, we're all just a person in a moment in time, and we're not always at our best. And the situation sometimes might be volatile, where we are having some different feelings and emotions that we're not able to bring our best self in that moment. And for it to be captured and put out there as representative of who we are in general, I think is a real disservice to people. And so especially when we see this with young children, and teenagers who really do worry about being accepted, that's part of a developmental milestone for them, then I wonder at this overall concept, which is people should have the ability to look at a situation and go, yikes, I didn't like how I said that, or I didn't like how I do that. And they should be able to go, in the future, I'm going to do this differently. And that's the learning and growing.
No room for that. No room for that. You made a mistake. That's that.
That's that. And that's who you are as a person, this bad person.
Yep. There's no room for growth.
Instead of this was a bad moment.
Yep. No room for growth.
And that is really concerning. That's what concerns me the most, is when these snippets of recordings, both good and bad, right? Because if somebody's only putting out these amazing snippets and they look wonderful, but yet beyond any of those times, they're really not a very nice person to other human beings and animals or what have you, then that's concerning.
Mm-hmm.
And to have it, and I think this goes back to the autonomy and freedom that we have to post and share things of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And other people are taking that away from us when they are choosing to take a picture or recording in a moment of time and posting it without our permission.
You're out in public. You have no right to privacy.
And there probably can be some truth to that. No expectation for privacy. I do think with children, that's different. I think children should be off limits.
What they should and what they do.
Yes.
Two different things.
Well, and I do really like, you know, in, I'm going to say Hollywood, there's probably other, but they were actually able to get some traction. So these celebrities who have children, like they understood, like paparazzi follows them, but what they were doing to children, that is terrorizing to children to constantly have these strangers be in their face with these cameras. It's very invasive, and that can affect development. So I'm really glad that they were able to make some laws put in place to where they were not able to do that. So, and I would wonder if we will start seeing more and more laws regarding some of these things, because really you're talking about sharing likenesses and images and so forth.
All I'm saying is when they would do like those TV shows out in public, they would have to like Impractical Jokers, they'd have to blur out people's faces.
Right, because they didn't give consent.
So why is social media any different?
And I do think that we'll probably start, I would hope that we'll start seeing some laws on what can be shared and what cannot be shared. You know, and I don't know that our court systems and legal systems can keep up to the extent and how quickly these types of situations are emerging. Mm-hmm. But this does go back to this concept of, are we giving permission? And so that takes some freedom away from us. But then again, this freedom to make mistakes, that is what I really want to maybe focus on a little bit, is especially for children and adolescents, young adults, making mistakes is normal. We want them to try on different identities, different ways of talking and being. And it is common for them to learn that they said something that had an impact because it hurt somebody else. And ouch, while we wish that wouldn't have happened, that sometimes is normal development. And what we want is for them to go, oh, I didn't like what I did. I didn't like that I hurt another person's feelings. And so I will never do that again, because that is part of growth. And I don't know that we allow enough opportunities to make these hopefully low risk, low consequent type of mistakes. The other thing is, I think with this freedom to make mistakes is, are they getting natural and logical consequences? Right? You hurt somebody's feelings.
They're
you
not.
said this.
This is gentle parenting era, Angel.
Gentle parenting, helicopter parenting, right? Rescuing them from consequences.
There are natural consequences. Let them experience them.
Right. Because if you said something hurtful to somebody else, then natural consequences would likely be that they might lose some friendships, that certainly if that came to what I would like to think, if it came to a parent's attention, that it's having a conversation, there may be a restriction of privileges, meaning in our days, we called it grounding. I don't even know. Grounding has a whole meditative aspect now, but you know, getting grounded.
Means grounding.
Yeah, that you get grounded. And really that has that meaning. Like part of getting grounded is we're bringing you back to earth and reality, and we're shrinking your world because it seems like you're not able to handle some of the freedoms that you're having because you made some poor choices. And we need you to think about that so that you make a different choice in the future. Mm-hmm. And so we would want that, and maybe some sort of repair or reparation right? How can you make that up to somebody? That could be an apology if it is truly felt, right? It could be contributing elsewhere, right? When you hurt people's feelings, sometimes creating opportunities for them to develop empathy for others, to be able to have perspective taking. But we have to create opportunities for children and adolescents to try these things on, to make mistakes, and to learn, which means part of that is natural logical consequences, so that they can develop into these amazing, confident adults who can make decisions, who can have empathy for other people, who can take other people's perspectives, and who will advocate. And here's the other thing, parent the next generation.
Yeah. It's not looking good for us.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of young people your age who I think I have a lot of hope and optimism for. Yeah, I mean, I do think there's some others that I don't. And again, that's probably always been the case. I think there's always been parents who have rescued their kids from...
Rescuing does more damage than you think.
Yes. And I'm going to say this too as a parent. And I don't know that there's any I think it's a whole continuum. The 0, I'm going to let my kids totally handle this on their own, to 100%. I'm going to go in and rescue them because I don't believe my kid can handle this situation. I think everything's a continuum, right? And we change our parenting strategies. And I don't know that we always get it right, because I think, at least for me, as a natural inclination, is I want to protect and shield my kiddos from as much as I probably can. But that's part of living and growing, is they've got to deal with some of this stuff. And they'll be okay.
We've survived so far.
So far. Right?
Haven't messed up our lives too badly.
And that's the other thing, is most mistakes are not irreversible. Short of loss of life, too much blood or limbs, I mean, right? Like physical integrity, like those kinds of things. Even some pretty significant poor choices that result in legal action or other things, there's still redemption. Redemption is another thing that I think is so important. Right? I expect kids to make mistakes. And honestly, I expect them to make stupid mistakes.
Yeah.
Because that's part of growing up.
She has bail money set aside, guys.
I think that was your dad's wise advice. Was, but what do we say about bail money?
Ooh,
Are we going to bail you out right away?
No, you're going to let us sit overnight. And if it involves drinking and driving, you're not bailing us out at all.
There's just some things you don't do.
Yeah, and we know.
Yeah, because there's some consequences that it's hard to come back from.
Yeah.
But when we look at leading a values-driven life, because that's another part of developing autonomy, is learning what's important to you. And I don't know that any of us, especially when we were younger, I certainly didn't, these are my values, this is what's important to me. And we usually learn what our values are, is oh yeah, because that's the one that gets me in trouble all the time, right? That's the one that I go off the rails with because it's so important to me. And then we start learning that we can actually choose some different behaviors that are more aligned with those. But, I'll take your dad, for example. He can be a hothead at times. If he gets upset about something, so I have no doubt, and he will talk about the number of fights that he ended up in growing up. And he's pretty open about those. But if you know him well enough, most of those fights was because he was being protective of his brother. And that is a value that's important. And yes, your grandmother had bail money set aside for your dad too.
Well, your bail money is probably more likely to go towards him. So it's not just for your kids.
Hey, knock on wood. He's
leveled out a little bit.
You kids have done wonders for him. He tries to be a model for you. But I think he would also be the first one to say, or to at least understand why you might feel a certain way and get in, especially with guys getting into brawls. I think those were much more common.
I don't think you have to worry about either of your sons getting into it with anyone.
Oh, I don't know. I think Nick. I think Nick's like me.
He doesn't have the strength.
He wouldn't, but if he did, I think it would be like me. Like I am so evil. Like I would be very. People are always surprised at my moments. They don't happen very often.
He's not very strong. I do believe it would be like getting hit by a pillow. And I mean that in the nicest way possible.
You're such a sister. You're such a... So we'll see.
Anyways.
But again, I think this goes back to having the freedom to choose your responses, right? This is really important. And a lot of times part of the growth and development that we would want them to have is to realize that they may have other options to choose. And that's part of learning and growing from when you're younger, going, like I do this a lot. I've worked with a lot of teenagers, like, okay, dude, like I get why you chose to haul off and hit them. Like it's not okay that you did that, and you will have consequences for doing that. But I get why you did that. And it's usually very tied to values. And so part of the work that we do to help them develop is expand their options that they have available to them at that time, in hope that they can stop for a second and think about those options before they just react. Because impulsivity is part of adolescence too.
Mm-hmm.
And so the freedom to choose your response, that's actually one of my favorite quotes.
Of course it is.
Right? Between stimulus and response, there is a pause.
Okay.
And in that pause, therein lies our freedom to choose. Right? Viktor Frankl.
Okay. Okay.
Right. So between what happens and what you choose to do, there's this moment.
Yes.
And whatever you choose to do in that moment, that ultimately is what your freedom is about, right? So,
okay.
So for a lot of, like, especially clients that I work with, I'm really trying to help them understand that pause and widen that pause so that their choice is more aligned with what's important to them.
It's all about the values.
It is a lot about the values in those situations, because then what happens is they respond and react in a way that's not aligned. Well, it's aligned with their values, but a lot of them may end up in legal consequences. And so when you end up going the route with legal consequences, you lose your freedoms.
Yeah.
Oftentimes. Right? Either through probation.
It usually does not go over well.
It does not go over well. And usually there's a progression, like you might the first time, like, okay, don't do that again. But then, from probation to incarceration, those are some steep consequences. And again, those are all potentially learning opportunities of whether that's what they would choose to do again. And that's very simplistic, because a lot of times we're dealing with so many other systemic issues. But for most of us, what we're choosing to do is important. And that's, again, assuming voice and choice. You asked me earlier about how have my choices changed as I've moved into premium adulthood. I sort of like that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. So I would say in adulthood, and you're probably experiencing it now too, and maybe there's never a transition from feeling like you are doing all the things for school and there's those external things that you must do. And so you're trying to find your voice and choice within the external systems. And I think that in adulthood, the school is replaced by work. And so most of us, I would say in adulthood, no matter how much we love our jobs and feel like we're pursuing our passions and our careers and so forth, I don't know that we would always say we have the freedom to do a lot of what we want to do or how we want to do it because we're working within certain hours, within certain rules and parameters and so forth. And so we're all held to certain ways that we have to do things that we may not necessarily like, right? Mental health, are just working within the systems of insurance reimbursement is maddening at many levels, and offers a lot of constraints in how that goes. But yet we have to figure out how to work within that so that the way that we choose to deliver services is what our clients need.
Mm-hmm.
So I think moving more into the premium, what I would say is very different is I think when you feel you maybe are at a point in your life where the financial stability is fairly okay and that you no longer have people depending on you for everything, then the choices I can make are very different for myself. I can and have chosen to walk away from things that no longer were aligned with what I saw as working for me or aligned with my values or what, where I wanted to spend my time. And so that's a very different sense of freedom, I think, that people feel, but that I have not always felt that way.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know. I zoned out.
You zoned out.
Yeah, I'll listen to it later while I'm editing.
So you have no response to that, especially knowing that, like, there's parts of that involve you, right? Because now having young adult children,
I still rely on you implicitly.
And yet I'm also to the point that I can be like, and if I need to make decisions and you have to, and they affect you because you are now capable of going out and doing things differently.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. All your choices seem to benefit me enough.
Well, and I do think that the reason I'm making some of those decisions to move towards some of the things that are really important to me, the skills that you bring in your role in the business match some of the goals that I have, the team has, and so forth. So, I mean, it just has worked out.
Sure. Okay. Anyways.
And yet, if you think about it, if I was more constrained with my time and where I had to spend that, I would have less time and autonomy to spend it in my business doing some of the things that I wanted to do.
Sure.
Which impacts you.
Sure.
I don't know where I was going with that.
I don't know where you're going with that either. I'm just saying sure.
By the way, love the boots.
Thank you.
Love the boots.
Thank you. I'm taking a little trip somewhere special, guys.
Of course you are.
I bought shoes to match.
Yes. Loving them. Mm-hmm. I guess you said initially that you did not have any thoughts about freedom and autonomy, but I guess I'd want to push back on that and think about whether it's you or you see some of your friends or some of the younger friends still in college, like where do you see their ability to choose or not choose what they want to do?
How many times do I have to tell you that I hate when you ask me about other people?
Then we can just choose you.
Okay.
But or the people that you're seeing on social media, like what they get to choose.
I'm choosing to stay away from social media. I'm not vibing over there. Anyways, that's how I feel about social media right now. It comes and goes, guys. I don't know. What was your question?
You started off saying you didn't really see that you had any options.
It's not that I don't see that I have any. I just don't think that I use it. Does that make sense?
You just mentioned a trip you're about to take.
Yeah, and I ran that past you like 100 times.
Why?
Because I like input.
We got that on recording, y'all.
Listen, No, I think it really is that I run it past you because I'm worried that you're going to be like, no, you're not doing that.
Last
night when I went to go for a walk. No, you're not going for a walk.
Y'all, could you just at least put on a light t-shirt? No. Because I did say that.
No, you didn't. You said, get some reflective gear right now.
Which she's adamantly opposed to.
I'm not going to look like a dork.
So I think
that's the choice.
I did. And I did, in all fairness, no, you're not walking out there in the dark. We have no sidewalk. Anyway, whatever. I did do that. And yet you have been to how many states? And you have done several solo trips and you still...
How many solo trips have I done?
You've done quite a few. So when you're worried that I'm going to tell you no, I also think I'm one of your biggest, do the trip. Go out, get out there, do things, live life. But please be safe. Don't get hit. That. I do think that's the one thing I would be safe.
Yeah, I'm always safe. What do you mean?
Okay, the shirt was not completely black, but it was pretty.
It wasn't even black. It was blue.
A dark blue.
It was tie-dye, so it had white on it.
Okay. Anyways.
Oh, I think first of all, I had to run it past you because you're my boss. And it involved taking off a Friday. Which, that make my own schedule anyway, so I didn't have to run it by you. But, I don't know, don't plan a training that day that you want me to be at. It sort of involves you in some ways.
Right.
Because me not being around impacts you, obviously.
Right, because I will miss you.
Yes.
Hello. Let me find out where your dad and I are, what we're doing that weekend now. Oh, we're going to have fun. We may go to a similar city.
You guys don't like cities.
We do too.
Hey, I mean, you know what hotel I'm staying at.
I did ask your dad. I didn't know in a couple of weeks when I'm in Chicago, do we spend it's been a while since we spent a night downtown.
This is very true.
So.
Yeah, interesting. I don't know. I just run all of my decisions past you.
Right. So that'll be interesting for you
I like input. I don't know. There are some times when I've made up my decision and I just want you to be like, okay. Just acknowledge that I'm making the decision.
Right. But then sometimes I feel like you want input and I give it to you and then it's like, no, you're going to.
I don't want input about where I'm hanging photos on my wall.
Duly noted.
I don't want input about me walking at night. I only tell you so that you know if I'm not back in 30 minutes that I've been kidnapped. I want input when it comes to spending money.
I feel like...
Because I don't even have access to my own bank account.
That's not because of me.
How do I get access, Angel?
I don't know. Talk to the bank. You have a debit card. You have a checkbook.
Yeah. But when I want to check my balance?
Oh, I don't know.
Anyways.
I mean, yes, I do have that because it's with mine, but I think you can get your own access.
I'm sure
I don't know.
But sometimes it's really just easier to go to you and be like, do I have money or not? Can I afford a trip or not?
So please note that this is not about me not giving you the free. This is about you taking the initiative and the responsibility to get your own access account.
Because I don't, oh my gosh. Going to the bank, don't make me do that.
So responsibility with adulting.
I made her come with me to return a package the other day because I've never returned a package to this location before.
Y'all, why am I just having a moment of like, we're talking about helping.
I still make her take me to the doctor. I don't make her go with me to the dentist. I think you should be proud of that one.
So we're talking about especially helping these 12 to 29-year-olds developing their identity and freedom and autonomy and all that. And my mind goes, and when are the moms going to get some freedom from momming? And
Never.
We're being blamed for all the things.
What have I blamed you for?
Nothing, dear. Nothing. Only the things that were my fault.
Exactly.
And did you really say never? We're never going to get the freedom?
You're the one who birthed kids. You chose to do that. You wanted that.
I'm going to have to continue going with you on your returns and checking your bank accounts.
I think I can do the returns on my own. You're going to have to keep checking my bank accounts. Listen, I set up my Venmo by myself the other day.
Yay.
Yes.
See, you can't do
and by
these
myself,
things.
I mean I asked your husband.
I don't know how he helped you with that.
Well, I said, I need to know what my account number and my routing number is. And he said, okay, it's this number and this number.
He knew these things.
He knew. He said, I learned it last week. I said,
he did.
Thank you.
He did. He had to ask me. And I'm like, it's these. But yay, he remembered and he taught you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's hope for me yet.
Anyways.
To the moms out there, you'll get there.
Anyways, we've run out of time.
We have.
What are your takeaways?
I was going somewhere optimistic, but I was just like, my takeaways is that as a mom, I'm never really going to be free. And that's okay because I love being a mom.
Yeah.
There's some things I love doing as a mom more than others.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, no, I think my takeaways really tend to be about, I was surprised with the statistic that nearly a third of 35-year and younger adults are still living at home and what that might mean. Not that it's a bad thing, because I'm one of those that I am an advocate for multi-generations living in the same home, if that works for that family. I think the biggest thing is just how intertwined our values are with in this concepts of freedom and autonomy. And over again, and I will say this, voice and choice is so important in all that we do, and especially, age-appropriate choices. I think, starting at 2 and even younger, sometimes we start giving kids appropriate choices. Do you want to wear this or this? Do you want to, so we can give them the 2 choices, and either one of those are fine. But those are just really valuable.
Yeah.
What are your takeaways?
Let people fail.
Yes.
Allow them to grow.
Yes.
People make mistakes. That's part of being human. Part of being human is growing from those mistakes. Don't hold it over them for the rest of their lives.
Yes.
And stop recording everything. Not everything needs to be posted online. If I'm out and about getting groceries, don't take a video of me. That's weird.
It's weird.
That's really weird.
Preach it, sister. Yes.
Anyways, yeah, that's all.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.